First off, John, congratulations on getting into the playoffs. I know that you had to earn it, certainly, winning that game against Franklin Regional to secure your spot. How big was that to get in, earning your way in against Franklin Regional in a rivalry matchup on Friday?
Yeah, we talked to the kids about the best thing about that game was we controlled our own destiny. That we didn't need help from anybody. It didn't matter what was going on in other games as long as we handled what we needed to handle. So, um, and we took obviously we played it like a playoff game because it more or less was in order to get in. And it didn't really matter what went on in the Woodland Hills game or in the South Conference or anything like that. We just had to take care of what we needed to take care of.
Well, you did take care of business 27-14 against the Panthers on the road. Second straight year that you had to win against them to get into the playoffs. What was key this time around?
Well, we had to overcome some early adversity. We had a lousy first drive. We had a punt block for a touchdown, so we were down 7-0 really quick. And then we kind of settled down, and fortunately for us, our defense played lights out all night. I don't think we gave up more than 140 yards or something like that the entire game. And, that kept us in it until our offense started clicking. And then, we had a bunch of good drives in a row that resulted in touchdowns. But I thought that, we didn't run the ball maybe as effectively as we wanted, especially early. But one thing we definitely did was we converted some huge third downs. Johnny Louver had a really good night throwing the football on third down in particular. And a couple guys that don't get quite the publicity as Carmen Metcalf at receiver, Nick Ponko and Jack Weissar had huge games for us, making some big-time plays in that game.
And you talked about the running game wasn't bad, but it wasn't prolific. There were some games earlier this season that if you weren't running the football with tremendous success, you weren't having much success on offense. Does that show that your team overall is taking steps forward in terms of the offensive approach?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it shows us also that we have to be balanced. We have to be multidimensional. And, one of those guys is a freshman out there playing receiver. So obviously it's going to take him some time. We kind of really held on to the crutch on Carmen since he's the returning guy. He's such a tremendous player for us. But, guys like that have come along and done a great job for us. And just to complement the run game, just to keep defenses honest and maybe try to keep those safeties out of the box a little bit really helps our run game as well.
So as a result of that victory, you get the number 2 spot out of the Big East Conference, the number 7 seed in this 8-team bracket. You go against number 2 Penn Hills. After Friday night's victory, what was your expectation and how did the bracket align with it?
We thought we'd either get Penn Hills or Pine Richland, which was pretty much how it worked out. I mean, it was semi cut and dry. You knew the loser of our game was going to Peters, we thought. And then I thought everything else just worked out the way it should have. I mean, it was a coin flip whether we're going to Pine or Penn Hills. So we got Penn Hills, which is a tremendous football team with obviously a big-time quarterback who can do it all. And very talented across the board, both the skill positions and their linemen. Very quick line on both sides of the ball. They get after you. And then they have guys that can take it the distance on any touch.
We talked about their quarterback, Julian Duggar, the Pitt commit, a guy who has a ton of experience. And so he's thrown for nearly 1,500 yards this year. What in particular makes him so good?
Well, he's dual threat. I mean, they have design run plays for him where he gets out on the perimeter and he's like, he takes long strides. He's deceptively fast and maybe even more dangerous than that is when he's dropping back the pass and he decides to take off with it from there on a non-design run. But at the same time, we saw these guys in 7-on-7 over the summer. He's throwing balls from the, one hash to the far numbers on a rope at 20 yards. And, you can see Division I arm talent. It's rare. And certainly this guy has it. So, they certainly use that to their advantage. They take some deep shots and they connect on them. So, like I said, they have weapons everywhere, and we have to make sure we defend the entire field.
Well, that's obviously going to be one of the keys, but what else will be instrumental for your team to knock off Penn Hills and pull off this upset?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing one of the top teams in 5A, and it's a playoff game, obviously, so everything becomes vital, starting with how you possess the football. You can't go 3 and out and just keep putting their offense back on the field. You can't turn it over and put their offense back on the field. we've got to possess the football and minimize their opportunities. That's a big deal for us. They have dangerous kick returners, and that's something that we really don't want to do is give up a cheap one. So we've got to be sound in our coverage game, and then we have to do great on our end on the kick return game. So, and it's pretty obvious when we're on defense, making sure that we're not getting beat on quarterback runs and him breaking contain and finding guys wide open because we're chasing him down. So, it's a lot. There's a lot to do because it's a really good football team.
Lastly, I know we've talked about this previously. A year ago, it was Penn Hills, the team that was left out of the playoffs because it's so hard to get into the 8-team field in 5A. But the 8 that do make it, it feels like pretty much all of them have legitimate chance to make a championship run. Do you enjoy the little bit smaller but much more competitive bracket where every game, even the first round of the playoffs, are going to be good ones typically?
Yeah, for years there were 16 teams. Or even 12, and once you won your first game, you're in the quarterfinals, and that's where we start. So yeah, I mean everybody's a contender at this point, and that's kind of been the beauty of 5A over the last 6-7 years, however long we've been doing 5A. There's been a ton of parity. There's been a ton of teams that have won it. It's not been dominated by any one team. So yeah, I mean it's a difficult bracket. There's a lot of high quality teams. There were a lot of high quality teams left out this year. And obviously that's something I think they're going to look into to try to fix. But for now, that's what happened, and we're happy to be in. And we've played a brutal schedule, and I think that helped us get battle tested. So we've seen a lot of high end talent and a lot of very physical, fast football teams. So I think we're ready to experience the playoffs.
Well, John, thanks as always for taking the time. We appreciate it, and good luck against the Indians.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Appreciate it.